That actually seems to be working out pretty good. Okay, so can you hear what I'm saying right now? That's what I want to know. If anybody hears this, feel free to do a reply of some kind in the chat, so I know. Yeah, cool. No, no worries. I'm not expecting people to jump up and do whatever. I just wanted to check. Thank you very much. Airbrush. Yes, yes, yes. Then between each little cuparino of paint, I like to just run through some water. Just to make sure there's no paint stuck drying in there. Getting thick, so because this dries while it's in the cup, so we might have to do a few more dripples. just clean out our airbrush. Making sure that nothing but water comes out there. And we put it back in its little box. I can't wear this thin fabric mask when I'm somewhere because it's horrible, hard to breathe. Okay. Whatever, dude. Not that hard. And I'm slightly phobic when it comes to blocked airways and things, and I still can't wear a mask like that. So yeah, I think masks are pretty chill. Amazing not to save all the mixing jars, even though it holds a bit of pain. No, she's from my. Oh yeah, that's actually pretty smart. I thought it was a smart plan to save them, but that is actually a smarter plan. You are smarty pants today. You can still see it wet, but you can see it's also dry in some areas, and that's the one of the advantages. Then it was kind of a wet paint, a little bit too wet. But, well, not too wet, but a little bit wetter than it needed to be. But you can see that it's dry in certain areas, and that's one of the super advantages of using an airbrush for something like this. I mean, we can start doing grays and we can do details with an airbrush as well, but that's not what we're going to do. I'm gonna switch around some lights though. Right. Yeah, it's super dry and matte here as well. So that won't take too long. I think we got a little bit of dusting everywhere anyway. And then we're gonna mix up some gray, and that we're gonna start brushing on. Yeah, that can happen when you mix paints. So yeah, we're just waiting for this to completely dry basically, and then we are. So we can actually start, I guess, by mixing up. See if we can. If we start with the white and we add a teensy bit of black, maybe we can make some gray instead of just more black, you know, like last time. So we'll be generous with the globbing of the slobbing, and then we will start with the tiniest amount of black. Like that, and see where that will take us. This is probably gonna be a pretty good base concrete color, because that's what all of that is. Maybe we should airbrush the base on, actually. But it's also not so much fun for streaming, I think. Nah, let's go with brushes and be mad about it. Let's do this the madness way, which is not really a madness way at all. I guess we have to stop there because that was a few seconds, and that's all we can do because we don't have the copyright for that music or something. And I don't care because it's a super cheap brush. This is my brush box, so the brushes don't have to stand up or anything. Just be a bit careful. There are some old miniature painting brushes in the bottom, but it's generally not for all the goodest brushes. This is a pretty good brush, but it's safe here on the corner. Yes. We could put this in turn on the fan and put this in front of the fan, I guess. Why not? Why not? Let's have some background. Just not too close because we don't want it to start to melt. I brought the ones that you wanted, and then I brought. I can show you actually. I didn't need that many. I might go buy tomorrow on my way out to buy some more, because it's so much cheaper than I actually thought it would. But I just bought these 6 brushes. These 6 brushes. Because I kind of want to get some more of these number 12s because of the super soft bristles for dry brushing. We're going to be using these later for some dry brushing on that big thing that is drying on the floor. But first we're going to start with some slathering brushes. Slather this and slather that. Slathering, slatheroo. And then there was waiting. For those who were here yesterday, let's recap, shall we? First of all, because I'm so happy how this eventually turned out, I also put some little metal ear thingies in here. So now that we put it on, it like nicely rests on my ears, so it doesn't fall off. Still have no LEDs or anything in it, but still. It's also definitely one of my more discussed pieces in the various Facebook groups I am in for crafters stuff. Like a couple of hundred comments and likes or whatever. Not comments, but reactions is the word I'm looking for so far. And then I don't know how many we're up on Instagram now, but not that many. But people liked it, and I learned something new about X-Men that I didn't know, and that there is actually a X-Men Zombies like alternative universe comic. So these are kind of canon, by the way. Hello. And I'm really happy. They weigh like nothing. And at some point I'm gonna have to make myself a Vault jumpsuit from Fallout and wear this with it, because the world needs a Cyclops Fallout 4 mashup. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. And I don't even like mashups. I don't like crossover thingies. Not like, oh, you're stupid for doing them. It's just not my thing. I'm never like felt like, oh, you know what, we should do a Super Mario Superman because they're both super, or something like that. And I know people like that, you know, that's fine, but it's not usually not my thing. But Cyclops Fallout, not completely dry, but dry enough. I have decided that this is dry enough to have paint slathered upon thee. I might be super bright now because I'm gonna turn on the lights behind above me because it's pretty dark in here to paint. So let's hope it doesn't burn out the cameras too much. because there's going to be a camera like up there behind me. Oh, that kind of works actually, at least from my end. And then you get to see, look at that, look at that. Doesn't that look like, doesn't that scream old abandoned factory to you? It does to me. Predominantly, I think I'm going to try and brush the paint, and if I brush it on, it's a bit thicker, so it will cover some of the textures, if that's what we want. You can use the paint for that, but I'm predominantly going to brush from above or below, so I get, if there's any streaking, it's just going to follow the same way all around. We're probably in a layer or so, or maybe even with this layer, I don't know. Start stippling once the paint starts to dry a bit. So yeah, we're gonna stipple a bit over this, so it actually doesn't really matter. But for that, I want a brush that is a bit shorter in its bristles, or rounder in its bristles. We'll take I'll take this one. I wonder if this is better to paint with in general, actually. Let's see. I think so. We'll put this away. We'll clean it, put it in water, and then we can clean it later. I think we're back to using this brush again and again. Stretching past the camera a bit, because there's some water, so we can get some water in this, because this is a very gel-like color, or paint, I should say. And then we brush on a layer of paint, and then we stipple through it, so we get rid of all the, well, maybe not all, but most of the brush strokes. But this will also help us a little bit with the worn look, so that's one of the reasons why I opted to not airbrush the gray color on. We want to start building up color variations. It's old, it's worn, it's dirty. The concrete or cement it's made of is old and worn and dirty. Brush. Oh yeah, he's gonna do the packing thing today. How to send large things. Well, if you ever want to be a prop maker and don't want to work on set, I mean, if you want to have a workshop like this and you want to work with props, that is one of your more essential skills to learn. How to bloody well build packaging for enormously weird things that you have to send, so they can get there. I am reminded of the art installation flowery thingy that I helped build once, and it's basically a bunch of branches with like origami flowers put onto these branches to make like a looking like a tree, but it was like, you can obviously see it was paper flowers made of paper, and that had to be shipped from Stockholm to Germany for an exhibition, and it was like a few meters wide. Oh, stupid pad. So yeah, prop making is 50% sanding stuff, 35% packing stuff, 10% building stuff, and 5% screaming. That's my take on it so far. Like, once you're established, if you're working with movie props and like art things and installations and whatever, and how to ship things. So if you have like a thing against sanding, don't build props. Which in like 3 days or so, I guess Mitch will learn the hard way. Sanding. I'm guessing you have sanded things before maybe, but yeah. Getting things fresh off the printer, looking pretty, and then you have to sand it all down because it's got so many print lines in it. I don't think the black paint was really dry there because I can see styrofoam through. So I think I sort of brushed up our black base coat there, but it's gonna be a color variation. It's art or it's post-app or it's worn down, whatever. Blame it on battle damage or whatever you want. It's gonna happen. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna keep on painting all the little stuff that I'm painting on. If something doesn't look right, we'll have to fix that once we get back to it. That's how it is. You have to yes, you have to sand. Especially with FDM printers. There's a reason somebody made the t-shirt, I sand, I die, I sand again. Oh, careful pixel, don't break it. Guess we're gonna have to put some glue, new glue around here somehow. So I'm thinking probably a couple of layers of this gray and then dry brushing some lighter grays for highlights, and then yeah. And I don't care if this paint gets on the pipes here, but I'm not really aiming for it because they're going to be another color anyway in the end. And we are doing quite a few layers probably on this thing in the end. So if it gets splotchy, it's okay. And I mean, it's going to be splotchy in the end, but yeah, to get a mask, yeah. Well, if you're gonna have to sand, you just need a dust mask. For sanding, you just need a dust. You literally, to protect your mouth and stuff, you need one of these. And one of these. That's what this is for. This is made to stop, because dust particles are pretty big. So sanding, this stuff. This is good. Because there's no fumes or any biological stuff like that you have to worry about for it, so that's a go for sanding. You might get some goggles or something for your eyes is a good plan, so you don't get a lot of dust in your eyes. Yeah, so you basically need to go and get a pair of these, so because they go like tight around, and this will protect your eyes pretty much. And you can have them with glasses. And there are a million different versions of them, of course. This thingamajiggy is for chemical stuff. With fumes, solvents and airbrushes and other stuff that have small particles or like
fumes that are actually dangerous. Also, you're gonna get dust everywhere in there, so be careful where you are when you sand, because the dust will settle everywhere. So, like a dedicated space, garage maybe, outside if you can. Well, right now it's a probably a cold idea to go outside, but otherwise that is not a bad plan. Or have some sort of a vacuum set up so it sucks in the dust right away, so it doesn't gather everywhere. I'm dissolving more and more black paint here. But it's super splotchy and stuff, and it doesn't matter because that's the nature of this piece of terrain, right? That's what this is supposed to be. We can do some of the bigger areas in here, and then we'll go back in with a smaller brush to get well behind the pipes and everything. And actually most of those other masks, the one that I had, are not rated for dust, so they will maybe protect you a little bit, but they will also take damage, so to speak, on their filters because they're not made for dust. So if you're going to get one of those kind of masks, you need to make sure it's also rated for dust stuff. Okay, another brush to be cleaned in the lab. I'm just putting them in water for now so they don't, paint doesn't dry in the brushes. And for like brushes like these where you like really abuse them, that's okay, otherwise just clean your brushes right away. Okay, take care of your pretty brushes and stuff. Otherwise you're gonna have to buy new brushes all the time. Oops, see there as well. We got some of the black paint off. Well, instead of making a thick layer and trying covering that, we'll cover it in the subsequent layers. If I'm going to do more layers, I realized that I could have just done it with the airbrush anyway. It would have been faster drying that way. Oh. Almost forgot the whole back side of this thing. of this thing. Here we go. Here we go. We got some of that paint to paint basically everywhere. Oh wait, no, not there. Almost everywhere where we wanted it, but not quite. Try looking behind here maybe. Yeah, next batch we are gonna load up in the airbrush, I think, because there's no point in doing it this way really at this stage, because I'm gonna weather this down. It's gonna be so many more dismal details, so I think we can just go with smooth even layers of this color. But we're gonna put this back on the floor in front of the fan and turn on the fan. And then we're gonna do something else. Well, it's gonna take a few minutes to dry, so you know what? I'm gonna take a short break, have a sandwich, and refill my water and stuff like that. And I will be right back. Sandwich. Hello everybody again. Hello Mel, you coming in saying hello while I'm eating and AFKing. We were waiting for a paint to dry and I took a quick snack break for that. Eat your other taco. That sounds like a great plan. This is black and this is the gray. It got gray instead of black, but you know, not much. So now we're breaking out the colors for the airbrush. Basically, it's not actually Vallejo's airbrush color, but it's a model color. So we're gonna go over this with some more brushing of the air. If I can just fit this down here again. There we go. Because otherwise we're going to spend even more time watching paint dry. You know, I'm not really into that. Exactly. Follow Mel. Are you at 100 yet, Mel? Are you at 100 yet? Have you gotten there yet? Have you reached the goal? Here's the cable. Yep, that works. Still, it's good. An atomized paint pigments and stuff in your lungs is bad, so we are gonna put back this mask on anyway.
That's good. Snuggly good. Oh, what? You just gifted subs, what? What? Thank you. You just, what? No, thank you. Oh, thank you, Mel. That is so kind. And buddy, if you are actually here, Mitch is definitely here somewhere. Say thank you to the crazy Fair Wife main for your gifted subs. Thanks, Mel. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. But still, that's awesome. Thank you. We appreciate that a super lot. Okay, I'm gonna use the dirty grey water to mix my grey. Oh no, we're shooting dirty water. And that means that we are, well, 30% there for the sub goals that I set up just like as a fun thing. So that's nice. Hi Moscow. Hey. Whoa, here comes the raid. Why doesn't the raid alarm go off? Hi Fabio. Hi Moscow. Welcome in raiders. Welcome. And Sa and Chris and like everybody. It did? Oh, it's just my airbrush is too loud then. I'll greet you all even more in a little while if you hang around. But yeah, thank you very much for the raid. Yeah, before the paint starts to dry up too much, and we're gonna go into the whole cleaning airbrush thing. Alright. Paper. Just water coming through now. Alright.
Here we go. Normal-ish voice mode back on. Again, thank you very much, Fabio, for the raid. Welcome in, raiders. Some of you have spoken to me or seen my name maybe in Fabio's stream if you came in with the raid. Maybe you were at his stream for the first time today and then you haven't seen my name. I'm Pixel. I make things. Today we are making scenery or terrain for a game as a part of a challenge from another streamer that has a challenge of building things out of, well, what's garbage basically. And that's what we're seeing here. Just putting on some base color for this main concrete structure. Starting to look nice. Oh, new follower. Thank you, Senoyu, for that follow. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's starting to look, yeah, it's once you start to getting some paint on like this, and these joints, I mean, I can show you. They are made from this little cool thing that is where you can build your own straw for your own drinks with like nice colorful parts, and you can build bent straws and stuff. So that's what we have used to build most of this. And yeah, getting some paint on there does a bit of difference. Slight bit of difference, you know. So yeah, we're gonna let this dry. I mean, airbrush, one of the good things about airbrushing is that it's super thin layers of paint, so they dry really quickly. And it's in this color, it's a model color by Vallejo. It's an acrylic paint, so this dries really fast. But the good thing about the model colors, well, the mini painting model paints, words not in order of right now. Okay. The good thing about this paint, it's very highly pigmented, so it covers very well, so it didn't need to use much of this to cover most of this. And then of course all the metallic parts are going to get metallic paints. And then once all the basic paints are down, we're going to start with the fun part, which is dirting it down. Yeah, so you can just, yeah, there usually are a few different connectors. I have a plastic bag full of packages of this stuff because, well, I do stuff like this. And that's what we do on Fridays, which is, it is today. If you would have popped in here on a Saturday, for example, we would do other miniature related things. Right now, I'm in the middle of a project of building my own, scratch building a bunch of my own models. So that's going to happen tomorrow. If you would have been here yesterday, you could have witnessed how this was made, because this was made yesterday. There we go. That's the camera you should use, Pixel. This one, you can even see my camera here. So it started out like a project of making a visor for a Cyclops visor from X-Men, the comics mostly, where he has a yellow visor. But I got some really weird textures here and there that I didn't like, so me and the chat voted to make it a bit more post-up. And this is otherwise a fully wearable mask visor thingy. So, sorry, I didn't mean to. This camera is good, but it's a little bit in the way. Hello. Can pop in like this. No, but this is this kind of, not just mask, but this kind of things is what happens on Thursdays in a way around here. And to be honest, a lot of this stuff like this happens when it's not a Thursday as well, but it's just not on camera. Thank you, Say. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super happy how this turned out actually. And today I installed a couple of small metal rods just so you can have them hanging off your ears. So they're just stuck on your head like that. So if you want to see how such things are made, you can either pop in next week on Thursday, or you can watch the VOD, I guess. And that VOD is also going to end up on my YouTube channel, like later today, once I can transfer it. Okie dokie. So I think we're gonna start with some metallics for most of the pipes. Remove some of these hot glue strands. Yeah, so metal, a lot of metal, a bit of metal, just going through metal, probably iron, Yeah, so mark that all out. So there's not a lot of colors going on here, to be honest, when you start to look at it. But that will pop out once we start to weather it properly, adding all those streaks of running water. And once there's this like base painted, so to speak, we are going to put up a lot more details. We might do some graffiti, put up some posters and stuff. Oh, there's a lot of build-up of paint there, though. Let's just suck that up so we don't mess around too much with that once we start getting metal on the pipes. So yeah, metal on the pipes is probably what we're doing now. This is for a game called Necromunda, for people who are familiar with the Warhammer 40k universe. That might sound like something you've heard. But basically it's a game you play with these little miniatures. So this is sort of made to his scale. So they can walk around here and, you know, take cover or stand up there and shoot at people, or, you know, throw rocks at them or whatever. But yeah, metallic paints. So let's, we could move, but we might as well just stay at that table now, I think. But moving the whole camera and getting everything set up on at the other painting table where I usually paint stuff is a bit of a messy operation. That's wet paint, let's move that. Get another palette. And yeah, we have a gray that needs to go in here. So this is my Vallejo paint set with all the little paints to paint, well, stuff like this. Like this little dude. Can we get? Yeah, there we go. Oh no, he lost focus. Focus. Okay. Well, you got a quick glimpse at him anyway. Right, what's this? This is gunmetal grey. That's not the color I wanted. Or is it? Or do we want to go directly to natural steel? Let's start with the gunmetal grey maybe. So a dark grey steel-like color. So if you came in with a raid, this is my canvas. So you went from looking at the acrylics on a canvas to acrylics on a model. And I know Fabio is keen on working up the nerve to paint some miniatures, and I would love to see him paint some miniatures, apply some of his awesome painting skills to that for sure. So how is everybody? Is everybody okay today? Are we happy that it's a weekend? Or doesn't that influence your life so much? For me it's not so much influential. I'm gonna be here streaming tomorrow again, so I mean, weekend or not, it's just more like a day where you do things or don't do things in the workshop. So I hope everybody is doing well. I will I'm not gonna say assume, because that's a word I don't like. I don't like assumptions too much. There's too many rooms for mistakes. But I hope you are all well. And then these pipes are gonna get painted with a lot of splotches of browns and reds and oranges, so to simulate rust. So they're not gonna look so metallic and pristine. This is just the first color, the first layer of paint of many. to not get so much paint on the surrounding area. And as this is going to be dirtied down and rusty, we don't really have to bother too much with coverage. If there's like a little gray splotch, like leave that. It's probably going to get lost in all the other colors in the end anyway. Things are very seldom uniform in color anyway, even if they're new, because there's always like going to be an oil spill, or somebody touched it with, you know, dirty hands, and steel isn't like a uniform color either, so you kind of have to work when you're painting metals. You kind of have to work with it and try to create the illusion of the depth and the shininess, and metal paint is of course a good base. You need to lurk because you have to finish. Oh, you have to finish work. Well, that's good. Oh, it's always a thank you. Yeah, have a nice lurk. Hope work things go well for you. So yeah, we're doing the base metal colors. We might go back with this color and dry brush over this a bit as well to bring back some metallic sheen if we rust them up too much in the end. So it's a process of layers and layers and layers of paint to get the desired effects. And these paints also come on extremely thin because they are very, very thin. So if you paint thin layers, you don't get any brush strokes, and you can also paint over these paints quite a few times because before they go too thick. This pipe thingy though, I don't think that's metal. I don't know what it is yet, but we're not painting it metal right now anyway. We are leaving it. Oh, you're most welcome, say. Z, say, see, I don't know. You are most welcome. We always try to wish people goodness and wellness in life. That is, you know, trying to be kinder to the world. It's always nice. This whole thing should be metallic as well. Well, it seems to have held up pretty well anyway. I was a bit worried about this part because when I put all the plastic bits, not the styrofoam, but all the plastic bits actually have a brush on primer on them, because acrylic paints tend to not want to stick to just plastic surfaces. And I was a little bit nervous because this didn't take primer too well, but it seems to be working okay enough, good enough. And these little pipes. And the rust effect is just going to be acrylic paints. We're going to start with dark browns or even maybe some splotches of black and work our way out to the lighter orangey colors in the end. The best part with doing this is, of course, once we have gone around and put metal paint on everything, the first thing we painted will be completely dry. All these pipes will be completely dry by then, and we can just keep painting them right away. There's very little stops. Let's see if I can see what I'm doing and keep this part in the camera. I mean, I'm doing the same thing, but the whole point of streaming is kind of to show off. Oh, there's a lot of build up behind here. Oh. Let's paint through that. Hey! The lurking sausage. Hi. Hello. Welcome to the chat and the live chat and the announcement of you being around then, I guess. I don't know. We have to figure out a greeting to greet people who have lurked and then come in. But yeah, so a late welcome then or something, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, nice to see you. Yeah, this is actually coming along quite well, I have to say. So, oh, that's a bit too much water. So, how are you? All the way across the planet. Everything okay with you? I'm fantastic, thanks. I'm having an amazing time getting to do this piece, and I mean, as I mentioned, I don't know if you have heard it. I mean, this is just the first layers of paint, and when the base paints of this is done, and we have done some weathering and stuff, then we're gonna go in and start doing adding the details. Like, I don't know if you've seen these, so I'll bring them up quickly. The little tiny barbecue where you can do the rat burgers, and then of course we have a big chunk of kebab style meat waiting to be grilled, so they can do, I don't know, mouse kebab. Oh, shish kebab, mouse kebab. Maybe mouse kebab. I don't know. Rather hot today. Oh, uncomfortably warm. Well, if you add the word snake or spider to that, doesn't that just like describe an average? For me, that would describe an average day in Australia. I know that's not true, and it's just a silly joke, but it's the best I can come up with on short notice. But that's sad to hear that it's uncomfortably warm. That's never nice. Mush kebab. Mush kebab. Mush kebab. Mush. It's a mouse, but it's a mush. Huh? Maybe. Don't know. Okay, so that's pipe. We have a little bit, and then I think the top is metal, but I'm not sure about the pipe here. Okay. You only have the creepy crawlies that I don't like then. That sounds horrible if you're me. I don't mind. I mean, of course, the bitey snakes that can kill you are of course not nice to get bitten by, but in general I don't mind snakes as much as I like spiders. As I don't like spiders, I mean. I definitely prefer a wiggly, snaky boy or girl or whatever they want it to be, more than I do them spiders. Spiders ain't my thing. Imagine being like extreme arachnophobic and afraid of snakes and be born in Australia. That has to be lovely. Because as far as now we can see from the side here, we can see that there are some of these pipes that doesn't have any metal paint on them basically at all. On some angles. Turn your models around, people, to see. that has to be fun. But all of that still, and it's like so much other fascinating things about Australia, so you kind of want to go and see it anyway. Oh, that is yeah, and especially spiders, because they're so tiny, so they can get everywhere. I mean, I'm not an arachnophobic enough to not being able to talk about them, as you obviously might have noticed, but still. Flip your models around, not like you're flipping a table, but gently. I don't know. I think they're metal as well, because I can't figure out any other color they look good in. We can absolutely stop talking about them in any descriptional ways. Yeah, marsupials is like the the attraction, I guess. Oh yeah, we were painting up here as well. Because yeah, there's like one marsupial that doesn't live in the world, that doesn't live in Australia. And it's like, what? Yep. And then of course we have my favorite weird animal, which is the beaver duck. Because it is a beaver duck. Come on, seriously. It is an amazing... No, beaver ducks. Come on. Come on. Looks like a beaver, has a duck beak. Possums are also... Oh, possums might be the thing, the animal not living in Australia, I guess. Yeah. I'm late. Yeah, exactly. Mr. Platy. Which I also like. Look at that documentary at some point about animals, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, don't pet these because they have these claws on their back legs, which basically is a poison we don't know anything about, so it's super hard to treat, and it's sort of deadly and causes instant necrosis in the tissue. It's like, yeah, possums are yeah, exactly. So it's like, what? But it's a beaver with a duck beak. It's like a yolk. It's like the creator of the universe made a yolk or something. So, nope. It lives in Australia. It has to be poisonous. That's just, yeah. Like, why? Why? Yeah, no, there was a documentary. I saw the pictures of a guy who was like, oh, I'm gonna pet it, and it, of course, it rolled around and it sunk its claws or whatever into his arm, and it just within hours starting to turn black, and yeah, it was like, oh my god. But then again, kids, don't go around petting wild animals even if you know that they're not poisonous, okay? Wild animals are wild. Leave them alone. I thought that might be best. You never know. Yeah, I know they lay eggs, but they're mammals. It's like we have a few parts to build animals left, and let's put them over. Oh no, we accidentally put them together. We made an egg-laying mammal with venomous claws that looks like a beaver with a duck beak. Okay. I mean, if you were to be of the somebody created everything persuasion, that is. But it's a very interesting evolutionary thing to like get all those things. And I mean, the beak is obviously because it's a practical thing for some kind of food gathering, because usually that's what non-sharp beaks are made for. They're basically shovels to dig for food and stuff. I mean, animals are poisonous or venomous because they, as a self-defense mechanism. So I mean, there's a logic between all the parts. It's just such an interesting combination of parts. Monotreme, okay. Learn something every day. But yeah, they are. It's not like I want one or I want to have fan art of them or whatever. I just think they're very fascinating because they're so different from so many other animals. I mean, I guess that's why people are like fascinated by marsupials when they're not used to them, because they are that weird to everybody else. It's like, I just gave birth to a kid, but it's not really finished yet, so I'm gonna put it in this pouch thingy. But again, evolutionary stuff. I'm guessing scarce food. Someone say some animal. You wanna know what a marsupial is? Is that what you're gonna? Good dad joke. I like it. It is approved. No, but what do you mean, Moscow? Do you want to have like know what we're talking about? What kind of animal it is? Because marsupials are like the kangaroos and stuff. They have pouches and stuff for kids. They're weird. Weird. That's the animals we are discussing. Oh, yeah, that's it. That is the solution. They are the original rule of cool. Because that means we don't have to try and figure out what the hell is going on. No, but I think the marsupial thing, I think, this is just off the top of my head right now. I sort of think it has to do with living in sometimes dry climates where food is scarce, so they need all the energy their body produces to not die, basically, so they can't nourish a child in the same way inside the body. Maybe, I don't know, or maybe it gets too warm inside the body when it's warm. I don't know. Just like thinking what would cause this thing to happen. Yeah, in general, like why? Because there has to be something local, because marsupials are basically not 100%, but basically only exists in Australia. I think we're gonna keep doing the rusty parts of those, so we're gonna keep doing the metal parts. And this is pretty stiff, so let's find ourselves a juicy good browns. We can use that palette, it doesn't really matter. Juicy, slightly darkish brown, if there is any paint left in. Well, I guess I can just take the normal acrylics, and not the game acrylics, and start with the master of browns, which is raw umber. Yeah, so I don't want another kid right now. I'll put him on ice for a while. What? But that could also probably have to do with food scarcity to do, because if you can't feed yourself and you end up being a pregnant kangaroo, that is gonna be disastrous for you. And since we are just stippling this on, we don't have to worry too much. It's actually good if we get some, like on the sides, creating some artificial shading, but also since it's so thin, when we put it on, the metal is going to shine through quite a lot. And as I said, we can go back in if they're not metallic enough in the end for us, we can always go back in with some and more dirt. We're going to do extra dirt at the bottom of and stuff like that as well. Because now we're starting to tell the story about what's going on here. If it's super dirty, there's going to be lots of dirt. The same against every little wall in the end. We're not doing that right now, but just as an example. There's going to be splatters of water and dirt gathering up. Now we're going to have to start to think about why. Oh, I didn't even finish painting that in metal. Oh, we can go back and do that in a while. We're talking too much kangaroos. We talked so much kangaroo that I skipped it. You're welcome. I don't know how well this... Yeah, if I lift it up, it starts to... Just one layer of brown starts to make it look way more interesting. Yeah, I know. I am a dad joke specialist. And yeah, if I mess up and misses like this, I don't care. Actually, you know what? We are going to start doing that right away as well. While we still have the color in the brush, why not? And this is the color we're going to start dirting things down with anyway, so we might as well get into it, right? Oh, I see. Well, I don't imagine it being easy to get a hold of in Sweden, though. I must say. Up around the pipe. Oh yeah, leather, that I know, because I haven't worked with it, but since I do work with leather a lot, it has come to my attention. Yeah, that would be obtainable. These pipes, I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, so we'll leave them for now. So starting to get the Sophist, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. We are currently working on a terrain building challenge with building things from scrap. In my case, it's for a game system called Necromunda. I don't know if you are familiar with this or not. But basically the challenge is to build something from what would be mostly considered scrap. If you want to see how this, if you haven't been here long now and you want to see how this looked before, you can go to my Instagram, which is linked in the information, or you can write !social in the chat. You will get the links to my social stuff, and there you can see pictures of this without any paint on, among other things. Yeah, it's not so old hammer though, of course, since it's Necromunda, so it's 40k related instead. But yeah, it's definitely, it's yeah, back in the days before you could buy terrain, when you had to build terrain and you used all the old packaging material, definitely strong hint of that here. Those were the days when everything had to be built, and Games Workshop were actually helpful with stuff and had like tutorials on how to build hills and stuff for your wargaming terrain and stuff. And right now we're putting on a mixture of dirt, and then we're starting on the rusting of the pipes. And since I'm using the same color for that, I just got into doing some of the starting some of the dirt up as well. Yeah, definitely the good old days, but you know, good super quality cheap MDF terrain is pretty nice as well. So you know, and you still, it doesn't exclude you from making things on your own. But no, this is just part of a challenge that another streamer is running actually, Studio J7. If Studio Antea is around, I'm just gonna dirty this down now, even if it's not metal. Maybe you could do a shout out for the Studio J7. And if you're a streamer yourself, feel free to let us know and we'll give you a shout out. Maybe we can get somebody interested in what you're doing. If you're doing any art building, painting miniatures or whatever, and it can be traditional arts as well, feel free to post something. We are link friendly if you want to show off what you're working on, what you have painted or whatever. Make sure it doesn't violate the terms of service of Twitch though, but otherwise feel free to share with us what you have been up to, if you want to. It's not a requirement, but we do like to see what people do, because it's inspiring and amazing to watch other people's art. Well, if you have depending on what bot and stuff you're using, it's pretty simple actually. Wait, are you streaming? Oh, yeah, look at that. Yeah, anybody can do a shout out. Ta-da! And I do believe Studio J7 will be streaming later this evening, because if everything goes to plan, at least, because that's one of his usual stream days. And if you want information about the build, the challenge, his channel and his Discord would be the sort of best place for that, of course. What do you want to stream, this and such? What's are you streaming painting stuff, or do you want to you're gonna stream gaming, or? Like here, let's put it up like that. You can see these starting to get these streaks, and just a pretty flat brush, just carefully dry brush, and you're still going to start get these streaks, which happens when the water, well, water, rain, whatever drops here. You should get, but you want to paint, want to craft. Well, painting and crafting is easy. I have a laptop that's pretty crappy right there that does this, and then I have a webcam and then this built-in webcam. Gaming, of course, is its own little monster, because you need a computer that can run the game, and then you need either a computer that can run the game and OBS and stream, or you need two computers and a capture card. So that might oh, that's a lot of paint. Of course, is a bit different. All the corners where the dirt comes. Just imagine where the water will collect and then run down. I'm using a bot called MooBot for my commands, and it's literally super simple. You click on add command and you write what it's going to be called, and then there's like a long list of all the, like, if you wanted to grab the person who made use the command's name, and you know, all that stuff. So MooBot is super simple. I don't know how the bots are for the others, for how other bots are, but MooBot is super simple for that, for sure. I think we're gonna go in quite heavy with paint in these corners later, because I want it. That's where a lot of dirt, kind of like that. Maybe even. Oh yeah, yeah. But you don't really need a super duper. I mean, unless, I mean, of course you can get one. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from that. But I don't have any super duper equipment when it comes to cameras or anything, and it shows off things pretty well anyway. Yeah, MooBot is just like a chat bot. I use Stream Elements for my for layout. That's way. All of these latest follower stuff, and the graphics and the frame here and the subscriber thingies and like gold thingies up there is from Stream Elements as well. And the chat, they have a bot as well, but a streamer I followed for the longest time before I used MooBot, so I sort of just went with it because it was slightly familiar for me. This might be a bit wet now. So yeah, MooBot is like just a chatbot, and you can use that. Well, obviously since I do, but you can use that with the other things if you want to. Oh, Yebuday, thank you for the follow. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome in to, well, right now, welcome to Necromunda, and that's probably the most horrible thing you can say to somebody. Welcome. I don't know how. Nightbot is also a separate bot. You will have to ask Stugentea or somebody about Nightbot, I guess, because I think she's running Nightbot. but, so I don't know how it works, but I can't imagine it being like worse or better. You know, I think they're just different brands, I guess we can call them. I don't know. This needs more rust. More rust. We'll go. Need some dirt. Just trying to get some, start on some dirt in the corners. But you don't have to. You can use Stream Elements. They have a built-in bot, and then go from there. You don't have to do anything else. You don't even need an overlay. You can just, you need OBS. That's what you need to learn, because then you can add the different cameras and the different like scenes. The rest is just extra. So if you want to really start to stream, just start with that, and then after 5 streams, change it a bit. You know. Develop it. You don't have, it's never going to be perfect from the start, so just go for it. That's what I did. I didn't have any frame around my camera at start. I didn't have this line here with the latest follower or anything like that. Didn't have any such graphics. I didn't have the, I mean, you don't have to have all of these things. That's things you can add afterwards. What you need is you, what you want to do, 1 or 2 cameras, depending on what you're going to stream. If you're just going to stream gaming, you don't really need a camera, unless you, because there's a lot of people streaming without face cam. And it's super easy to get bogged down in like having to figure out everything from the start. And I think that's stopping a lot of people from even trying in the end. So before you get stuck in that, my friend, go forth and spread thy streamy wings. Yeah, exactly. You can stream with a modern smartphone if you don't have a webcam even. So, yeah. If nothing else, you can save the VODs or make a clip of something, and you have something fun to on your like 2 years your 2 year stream anniversary when you've been streaming for a couple of years. You can go back and look at it and talk to people, and maybe that can also motivate other people. If they see that I just started like this, it looked like a Muppet show, but you know, here we are doing this a lot now and stuff. So if you want to be inspiring, that could be a thing too. But yeah, no, don't worry too much, especially art. Then you and what you do, and your art is the focus. Yeah, shout. Movebot has a built-in shout-out command. It's actually exclamation mark shout-out, so I just changed that because I thought it was annoying. So it's SO because that's what most people use. Oh yeah, we haven't dirtified anything up here yet. Let's dirtify and rustify. Then we're gonna find some orange color, cool orangey brown colors to do more of the rustic things. Make it splotchy. Okay, we're gonna put that brush away a bit, and then we're gonna take this brush and we will do a very watered down color. Oh, that's a nice. Oh, taking a shower. I'm gonna take a shower later today when I come home. When I'm home again. Sounds nice. Just because dirt gets definitely around all the corners and everything, and this surface is also way too clean. We're gonna have to really mess it up with some dirtification. And dirt is random, so don't be too shy on this. Just we can dry brush this with grey later as well if we want to, if we think it's too much dirt in it, so it doesn't matter. This is not our final form, so to speak. Some light streaking. Yeah, and this wall also is like too smooth, and there's a lot of sort of stippling action gonna have to go on. And then we're gonna go do over this again and again and again. Oh, we need to dirty that up. I think we need a bigger brush again, people. I think I might have made a mistake. I think I need some paper as well. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Chat. Yeah, that was Crazy Ferret Wife Main, aka Mel. Thanks, Bone Shooter. Yeah, it's really starting to like get some personality to her now, with all the rust and dirt, and that's just, this is only the beginning. And also, thanks to the wonderful Studio Entea, who discovered they had super cheap brushes that they were selling even cheaper at our local hobby store thingy. So these cost originally 20 crowns, but these were marked down with 75%, and I bought a few of them for me because it's hey, Digital Serenity, what are we doing? We are building terrain out of scraps. That's what we're doing today. No, so I bought these, the ones that I bought for myself. I bought them so I could dry brush because they're super soft. Ooh. Ooh. I'm definitely getting more of these brushes, because I am gonna go through these brushes like crazy. Stippling and dry brushing. Layers and layers of dirt. Give me all that dirt. Just let's see if we can get this on camera properly. Just because it's so soft, it hardly leaves off any paint, but you get this sort of dusty texture and everything. So we're probably in the end gonna take this brush and we're gonna like yeah. How are the scars? How are you doing? How is that? Are you healing okay? Are you feeling okay otherwise, like just physically, I mean? Let's clean that out before it's any paint gets dried into this new pretty soft brush. No infection, you can change out the bandage if... oh, nice. At least something is going right with that then. That is always nice. Okay, but more about that with that brush later. Now let's keep doing broader dirty things. Yeah, we need to build up some dirt in the corners in here. We definitely it mostly stop hurting, but it's itchy. Oh yeah, but itching is horrible, but it's also good because you know that is healing. But yeah, I can imagine it would. Lots of dirt, all dirt. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this color on this side, except maybe in here then, of course, where we haven't